Of the 72 million people who live in Thailand, just over half are in the cities. The places you've heard of or come to visit: Bangkok and Pattaya, Phuket and Chiang Mai. There and in much of the country, life has followed the same path as the modern world. But when you leave the highway and head deep into the mountains, well, you find something very different. Out there, far away from the morning commutes and the shopping malls, it's an undiscovered land of jungle spirits, ancient legends, and incredible cuisine. Deep in the most remote and isolated corner of the country, on the edge of the Golden Triangle, we had a chance to visit one of Thailand's most fascinating places, spending 36 hours foraging for food, learning the lessons of the mountains, and trying the specialties of one of the country's most revered jungle chefs. This would be a trip unlike any other. A fight against the wilderness, a window into a long-forgotten culture, and a one-of-a-kind food trip to a place called Nan. 2 days ago, I was sitting at home in Bangkok when I got a call from Dennis. That's him. He's a director who's worked with OTR in the past, and for the last month, he's been staying with his wife, she's the one holding the camera, at his family's place in one of the most remote parts of Thailand. Long story short, he asked if I wanted to come and make a video before he headed back down. So fast forward 48 hours, and here I am, climbing into the passenger seat of an old van on the way to somewhere. My flight touched down in Nan City, the capital of Nan Province, one of only 3 flights a day that arrives at this airport. But according to Dennis, our direction is a village called Silalang, more than an hour drive to the north, where his mom lives and has stayed for the last 8 years. This means right away heading out of the main town and driving almost all the way to the Mekong River, which serves as the national border. Actually, when you look at a map, where we are is closer to 4 other countries than it is to Bangkok: Laos, Myanmar, China, and Vietnam. Nan is a big province, larger than countries like Jamaica or Qatar, but it's so sparsely settled it makes up only 0.5% of Thailand's population. And while it's not the most famous of the country's 76 provinces, it might have the most unique story and the most unknown culture and cuisine. As a matter of fact, for much of history, Nan wasn't Thai, it was an independent state, wedged between large and powerful empires, a jungle outpost settled by Dai refugees who were chased out of what's now China in the 13th century by the Mongolian invasion. The Dai, in Thailand called the Thai-Lao, to the ancient Chinese the Shui Pa Yi, or water barbarians, weren't traders or expansionists, which is why they're pretty much forgotten to history. They lived off the land, farmed rice and foraged food, and played no part in the Game of Thrones that was Southeast Asia in the Middle Ages, except when it came to defending their home. So adept were the Nan at surviving in rough terrain that even after centuries of invasions from all sides, after battles with empires like the Sukhothai and the Lan Na and the Lan Sang, even after 200 years of Burmese occupation, Nan remained independent and intact, the people simply withdrawing deeper into the jungle during times of crisis. And we're not just talking about ancient history. Even into the 20th century, as the territory, at least on paper, was passed back and forth between Thailand and French Indochina, the local people viewed themselves as Nan, first and foremost, only formally accepting Siamese sovereignty in 1931, and with insurgents still fighting for independence well into the 1980s. Now, as a food channel, all of that makes this trip something fascinating, a place all its own and with its own story and cuisine. But it also means I have no idea where we're going or what I'm getting myself into. For the next 36 hours, I'll be heading into the unknown, the vast wilderness and one of the most undiscovered parts of Southeast Asia, the land of the water barbarians. According to Dennis, since the airport opened, there's been at least a slow trickle of tourists who found their way here, mainly hikers on their way to Doi Phuket. To service anyone who passes through, a handful of houses and homestays opened, and one of them, called Daidib Daidee, earned such a reputation for the owner's mom's cooking that a few years back, the legendary Thai food master Chef McDang stopped by for some jungle food. That is, of course, where we'll be staying. That's not here, though. This is the house where the owner's parents live, as far as you can go by car. To get to our accommodation, we'd need to cross a river, which means the rest of the way, we'd have to cover by tractor. Or at least that was the plan. It turns out today there's a group from Nan who made the drive to take a cooking class, something on offer to anyone who asks since McDang's video. Anyway, with 7 people now jammed into the back of the tractor, that would mean someone would be the odd man out. Welcome to the jungle. So which one of these is my palace for the night?
Right here.
This one?
Yeah.
This is not staged. Oh, I should take my shoes off, I guess. Gotta be polite, even on the platform.
What do you think, Adam?
Come on in, I'll give you the tour. It doesn't really matter, but I do want to point out that when Dennis told me where we were staying, this is how he described it. Nice views, no air conditioning. So I packed for a normal 2-night trip. Electric toothbrush, laptop, stuff like that. Yeah, no air conditioning. No walls either. I don't know if we were rolling tape. Dennis was just telling me that the last time they stayed here, there was a python in one of their beds. There's not a lot of hiding places, at least. It's going to be easy to check. All right, hammock looks... It'll come close. It'll hold most of my weight, at least. Ah, little couch in case you just need to take a break, but you're not ready to sleep. This is fine. It has everything I need. Without electricity, it hit me that as soon as my phone ran out of battery, nobody who wasn't here would have any idea where I was. And between the snakes and the scorpions and the fact that I was somewhere I couldn't even find on a map, I was now fully at the mercy of the northern Thai jungle. We hadn't even decided yet what we were going to film. I felt all of a sudden completely unprepared and cut off from everything, and honestly, that was okay. Whatever happened next would be out of my hands, and after so many years of the pressures of life in big cities, it was kind of a liberating feeling. And anyway, just look at this place. Daidib Daidee is what's called a homestay, which means it's also a home. In this case, it belongs to the Yanan family, a small plot of about 1.5 acres where they've farmed rice since as far back as anyone can remember. Specifically, what they grow here is sticky rice, something by now sold around the world but endemic to the central basin of the Mekong River. In other words, here, the stream flowing through the property feeding into the Mekong less than 40 kilometers away. The idea to turn this place into a spot for tourists came from the family's youngest generation, Adasak, or as he's known to everyone, Bird.
ก็ได้ดิบได้ดีอย่างที่บอกนะปีนี้เราทำมาถึงปีที่5แล้วครับตั้งแต่เริ่มสร้างปีแรกๆถามว่าที่ดินตรงนี้เริ่มมาจากเป็นที่จากมรดกก็คือเป็นที่จากคุณตาครับ แล้วก็ส่งต่อให้คุณพ่อผมคุณพ่อก็ส่งต่อให้ผมแล้วก็เนื้อที่ประมาณ4 ไร่ครับก็เลยแบ่งส่วนหนึ่งทำเป็นที่พักและฟาร์มสเตย์อีกส่วนหนึ่งก็ยังปลูกข้าวไว้กินเหมือนเดิมเหมือนที่เราเคยทำก็ไอเดียต่างๆอย่างที่บอกเราอยากจะทำที่นี่ให้เป็นศูนย์การเรียนรู้เล็กๆครับที่แชร์ไอเดียแล้วเล่าเรื่องราววัฒนธรรมความเป็นชนบทวิถีดั้งเดิมของคนที่นี่โดยดึงกิจกรรมหลายๆอย่างที่น่าสนใจทั้งอบตัวด้วยสมุนไพรเดินป่าทำอาหารรวมถึงปลูกผักไว้กินเองแล้วก็ผูกพันไปถึงควายที่เป็นของคู่กับชาวนามาอย่างดั้งเดิมจนถึงตอนนี้ผมก็เลยมีไอเดียที่ทำเป็นที่พักเป็นแบ่งเอาเป็นหลังๆแล้วก็มีกิจกรรมให้เลือกทำก็กิจกรรมต่างๆก็อย่างที่บอกเราเป็นกิจกรรมที่คนในชุมชนได้สัมผัสอยู่แล้วแล้วก็เราอยากจะตีแผ่หรืออยากจะส่งต่อให้คนที่อยากจะสัมผัสอยากมาอยู่กับเราแล้วก็ได้เรียนรู้ไปกับมันครับผม
Bird is one of Dennis's oldest friends from the village. They have similar interests. While Dennis is, of course, a videographer, Bird studied photography and worked in Bangkok before deciding after the airport opened to put his own goals on pause and come back home to try to introduce his own unique culture to anyone arriving. Especially because as time went by, he realized it wasn't just him. Most of his generation had left the village.
จริงๆวิถีชีวิตอย่างนี้มันมีมาตั้งแต่เขาเรียกว่าจากรุ่นสู่รุ่นที่สืบเนื่องต่อกันมาแล้วก็เข้าใจว่าครับว่าสักวันหนึ่งมันทุกอย่างมันมีความเปลี่ยนแปลงของมันแล้วก็ผมเชื่อว่าในอนาคตอาจจะเป็นรุ่นผมเองอาจจะไม่ได้เห็นสิ่งเหล่านี้แม้แต่กระทั่งเอาควายมาเทียมเกวียนหรือใช้ควายไถนาหรือปลูกผักไว้กินเองสร้างบ้านด้วยตัวเองสิ่งเหล่านี้มันคงจะเลือนหายไปครับถ้าแบบไม่จะอนุรักษ์มันไว้อย่างเงี้ยครับก็ผมก็อาจจะเป็นคนหนึ่งที่ช่วยอนุรักษ์ในความเป็นภูมิปัญญาหรือความเป็นชนบทของที่นี่ให้คงอยู่ไว้อย่างเงี้ยครับผม
Just jump on. Yep. Okay. All right.
Jump. Yeah, like a motorbike.
Tony. Good boy. What, like? It's fine. It's like a chair. It's more comfortable than the bed. By 7 o'clock in the evening, as the sun was setting, Bird went to work on his other passion project. Not photography or tending to the buffaloes, but making pizzas. With time to kill during COVID, he watched a few YouTube tutorials and built his own clay oven, coming up with recipes combining northern Thai flavors with his best attempt at an Italian-style pizza dough. He even ran electrical wires to power both a few hanging lights and a beer fridge. Without any tourists, the pizzas made Daidib Daidee something of a local hangout, and on any given night, there's a good chance that a few local people might swing through to grab a drink and unwind from a long day of working the land. For me, I hadn't done any farming, but a beer and a slice of Nan Province pizza sounded fantastic. While we sat next to the rice fields and enjoyed the serene atmosphere, Dennis, Carol, and I talked through plans for filming tomorrow. We had a few options. This area has become pretty famous for coffee farming, for example, and Dennis knew of a few restaurants nearby run by people from the local hill tribes. But all those felt kind of like a normal OTR video, and this is not a normal place. This was something different, impenetrable for hundreds of years and impossible to even begin to understand just by spending a day restaurant hopping. But still, we had to tape something. We asked Bird what time his dad would be around the next morning to bring us back to our car, so that whatever we did, at least we'd know what time we could start. He told us it would have to be before 9 because after that, Dad would be in the jungle, foraging for ingredients for the family to cook. And by the family, that would be his wife, the one so renowned that Chef McDang once paid a visit. Just like that, the idea was there. After all, this was how the Dai people had lived since they'd first settled the mountains, relying not on trade or commerce, but on the jungle, on knowledge passed down since long before this country even existed. So tomorrow, that's where we'd be going, tagging along on a quest for a family dinner, high in the mountains of the old Nan Kingdom. So we've been walking like 1 minute, just straight uphill, and I'm gonna pretend like I'm not out of breath, but the path is already over. So like the what was kind of an easy to follow, well-defined path ends here, and going forward, it's just wherever people want to go foraging that day. It's really cool. Bird's dad, Khammon, chose today for foraging because it's been raining here in the non-summer and now is considered maybe the best time of year to find stuff to cook. The local diet is based around the edible foods that grow here, including vines, wild betel leaves, and things like bamboo shoots. The culture isn't vegetarian, but it's close. Hunting is still done in the wild and a catch is hard to come by. So along with the rice grown at every home, this is the means for survival. But of all the bounty of the jungle, the real gems, the purpose of today's quest, are the mushrooms that appear only during the rainy season. Anything edible goes into the bag, but Khammon is looking for one specific variety, one of the rarest and most valuable found anywhere on Earth, something that only shows up around this time. It's called the Astraeus odoratus, otherwise known as the puffball. It's a unique relative of the Earth star family, said to have a flavor and texture like a good steak. And unlike other puffballs, it's still a mystery to botanists, who have yet to figure out how to grow it artificially. It's only found here in these mountains. But they're camouflaged and notoriously hard to spot, and so for now, we'd have to make do with more common varieties and any other plants that can go into our dinner.
นี่เห็ดเขาเรียกเห็ดดินเห็ดใบถ้าตามภาษาพื้นบ้านนะถ้าเป็นสีแดงแบบนี้เขาก็ว่าเห็ดแดงอันนี้เราก็เก็บเอาได้เก็บเอาไปทำต้มทำแกงทำอะไรได้เดี๋ยวเราก็เห็นเราก็เก็บไปทีละดอก2 ดอกไปงั้นเลยเขาเรียกผักกูดงอที่นี่นะเรามาแกงใส่กับเห็ดนี่ก็ได้นี่เราเก็บเอาแล้วก็หาเก็บไปทีละดอกทีละอะไรไปอย่างนี้แหละหาไปเรื่อยๆเก็บเห็นอะไรก็เก็บเรียกก็มาหาของป่าถ้าหาเห็ดไม่ได้เดี๋ยวเราจะลงไปเอาสมุนไพรก่อนเอาไอ้เถาวัลย์มันมีอยู่ที่ลำห้วยข้างล่างเดี๋ยวนี้เรากำลังเดินลงไปก็ เดินไปหาดูเห็ดไปอย่างนี้แหละเห็ดก็เจอแต่เห็ดอันนี้เขาเรียกเห็ดใบแต่ที่เป็นเห็ดเพาะยังไม่เจอสักเม็ดเลยก็หาอยู่ มันก็แล้วแต่บางทีนะเรามาหาของป่าก็เป็นแบบนี้แหละบางทีมันก็ได้เหลือกินพอแบ่งคนอื่นกินบางทีก็ไม่พอกินเลยบางทีก็หมกพอดีกินก็เป็นแบบนี้แหละของธรรมชาติเราอยู่กับธรรมชาติกับนี้แหละคำว่าธรรมชาติ
Thank you
yeah
I don't think I'd ever really thought about it this way, but hiking through the jungle, now more than an hour in and with only a small amount to show for our effort, I realized I was pretty much conditioned to believe that everything was a simple transaction. You need something, you go get it, then you go home. But out here, that's not how it works. Here, just finding enough to survive can be a full-time job. And it has been for Khammon for more than half a century. Like most of the people from Nan's mountain tribes, Khammon left school at a young age to help support his family. In his case, he was 9 years old when his education switched from the classroom to the forest. Today, he's 66. He might not have a degree, but when it comes to the knowledge that's allowed his people to make these mountains home for 30 generations, well, that's not something taught in any book.
ก็สำคัญที่เกี่ยวกับวิถีชีวิตการย่างชีพเลี้ยงชีพเราการเลี้ยงชีพย่างชีพเราต้องอยู่ให้รู้อยู่กับธรรมชาติได้ต้องหาของถ้ามีช่วงที่มันมีของป่าแล้วก็หาของป่ากินของป่านี้มันเป็นมันมีมากับป่ากับธรรมชาติคือทุกอย่างคือมันจะมีอันนี้นะเขาเรียกอะไรนะเขาเรียกว่าจะว่าแคลเซียมก็ไม่ใช่มีอันนี้อยู่เป็นหินดินทรายแบบนี้หินแห่พวกนี้มันก็มีแร่ธาตุมีแร่ธาตุของมันอยู่ดินนี้มันก็มีแร่ธาตุของดินอยู่แร่ธาตุของมันอยู่เหมือนกันถ้าเป็นผักเป็นเห็ดอะไรพวกนี้นะเรามากินมันก็เป็นประโยชน์ต่อร่างกายของเราไม่ได้มาอยู่คือเป็นคนที่นี่เลยโดยกำเนิดพ่อแม่ปู่ย่าตายายก็เป็นคนที่นี่แหละอยู่ตำบลนี้เลยแล้วก็เราก็เกิดมาแม่ก็อยู่พ่อเกิดอยู่บ้านหมู่3แม่เกิดอยู่บ้านหมู่1ก็มาคบหาเจอกันก็อยู่ด้วยกันก็มีลูก2คนมีคนโตก็เสียชีวิตไปเมื่อปี54รับราชการเป็นครู3 ปีแต่คน2ก็คือเบิร์ตเดี๋ยวนี้แหละลูกก็มีอีก2คนก็การทำมาหาย่างชีพเลี้ยงชีพเขาก็ทำไปแบบนี้แหละทำเหมือนบรรพบุรุษทำมาเนาะชาวบ้านเป็นอะไรทำมาหาอยู่กินของป่าบ้างรับจ้างทั่วไปขายแรงงานที่สิงคโปร์อยู่ 4-5 ปีไต้หวันปีหนึ่งตอนนั้นเรายังไม่ได้ทำบ้านหลังนี้คือเราไปเราก็อยากจะให้ครอบครัวของเราอยู่ดีกินดีขึ้นมาแต่มันก็ได้อยู่มันก็ได้พ่อไปก็รวมๆแล้วก็ได้มาเป็น6 หลัก 7 หลักอยู่เหมือนกันก็พอมีอยู่มีกินพอดีมาถึงตอนนี้ก็เบิร์ตก็ไปเรียนวิจิตรศิลป์โฟโต้ก็เขาอยากจะมาทำอยู่สไตล์นี้ก็เลยพ่อแม่ก็เลยช่วยทำคือจริงๆแล้วก็พ่อไม่ได้คุยหรอก คือเขาในความคิดเขาอยากจะทำแต่เขายังไม่รู้วิธีทำจะรู้วิธีทำจะทำแบบไหนก็พ่อเคยเป็นคนแบบอยู่แบบชนบทมาก่อนแล้วเนาะก็ทำได้ก็พูดถึงยากไหมก็ไม่ยากพูดถึงง่ายไหมก็ไม่ง่ายเหมือนกันแหละก็คือเราก็ทำไปศึกษาไปเหมือนกันจนถึงวันนี้สตาร์ทแรกเปิดมาทำนี้แล้วก็ซื้อควายมาก่อนเอาควายมาเลี้ยงควายมันคุ้นเคยกับเราก็มาฝึกลากไม้เหมือนตอนเช้าแบบก่อนที่เราจะมาฝึกไถนาฝึกอะไรฝึกเทียมเกวียนฝึกถ้าเราตอนฝึกนี้ก็เหมือนกันเราต้องฝึกพวกนี้เราก็ต้องฝึกตอนที่ตัวมันเล็กๆคือแรงมันก็ไม่เยอะเวลาเราฝึกมันถ้ามันจำมันก็จำเลยจำมันก็เป็นงานแล้วมันก็เป็นเลยไม่มีลืมแต่พูดไปแล้วนะพ่อไม่ได้โทษไม่ได้ดูถูกคนเรานะที่จริงนี่สัตว์นี่ตามที่พ่อได้สัมผัสมานะวัวควายพวกนี้นี่ฝึกนี่ยังสอนง่ายกว่าคนเราอีกคนเรานี่บางทียังดื้อยังรั้นยังลืมอีกอันนี้ไม่ลืมเวลาเราสอนเทียมเกวียนสอนไถนาอะไรพวกนี้นะถ้ามันเป็นแล้วก็เป็นเลยจำตลอดชีวิตของมันเลย หาเห็ดเพาะกำลังหาดูอยู่ยังไม่เจอสักเม็ดหนึ่ง
As we went deeper and deeper into the jungle, absorbing life lessons from Khammon and taking in the scenery, there was still the matter of dinner. And our basket of food was distressingly empty, with almost no puffball mushrooms in sight.
นี่เห็ดเพาะยังหาอยู่ยังไม่เจอก็มีคนมาหาอยู่ประจำแหละปีนั้นก็ขึ้นหวยรับก็ปะแดงช้อนฝรั่งเป็นมะโลมาพักนี่โจดมะโลไปไข่หันนี่มากนึงเข้มบ่เข้มหันเฮ็ด2เกียรนั่นมานี่
There's somebody else here foraging, so they're yelling to each other about what they're finding or not finding. We are deep.
เพิ่นถ่ายรูปเอาได้นี่แหละ
We've gone over a mountain, kind of wound around a little bit. We're way off the trail. We just bumped into somebody else out here.
โลดได้มา
That's wild.
เฮ็ดอย่างเฮ็ดใบเฮ็ดท็อป
At this point, miles off the trail and disoriented by the dense forest, the last thing Dennis and I expected to encounter, the last thing, was another human being. But the mushrooms draw a crowd, and for those looking for the best stuff, well, the jungle is very much first come, first serve.
ก็เนาะที่นั้นก็ขึ้นมาหั่นนั่นเนาะรถไถไว้นั่นได้สุมาละ
We've been out here for an hour. We found 2, but this gentleman we just bumped into got here at 7 in the morning, which was 4 hours ago, and he has filled this bag, which is still, it's not nowhere near a kilo. I'm talking about 700 baht for a kilo of this, but this is at least, let's say, 3 dozen, probably 3 dozen of the mushrooms. I can't believe that anybody can even spot these. Cool.
Maybe today wasn't going to be our day to beat the crowd to the puffball mushrooms. We had a couple and we'd find a few more, but it didn't really matter because until this morning I'd never heard of them anyway, and I was just excited for whatever Khammon might show us in the jungle. To see his way of life and to spend a few hours far away from the land of cell phone service. And the fact that there was no service didn't even occur to me, because when you're this disconnected, somehow you forget about that call you've been waiting for, or the score of the Orioles game, or whatever felt really important yesterday in another life. Out here, it's just us and the jungle. What I did think about was food. 15 years in restaurant kitchens teaches you to appreciate, quote, farm to table. Well, this, whatever we're finding, puffball or otherwise, that's not even farm to table. It's food as it existed before the first farm was planted or table was built. ingredients like few other people will ever get a chance to taste. You can't help but be humbled by the jungle, its strength and beauty and self-sufficiency. It gives us what we need, but it doesn't need us. If Khammon and the others stopped coming, the jungle wouldn't even notice. It's a bit of a shock to realize that if you strip away all the decorations of modern life, those things that make us feel like our lives are important and we're important and our problems are important, the truth is when it's just us and the world we live on, we don't matter. We're just one more animal in the jungle leaving footprints that'll be washed away in the next rain. The mountains, this forest, well, they were here long before we were. And if people like Khammon and Bird have their way, they'll still be here after we're gone, too. We all know that mountains like this, jungles, are disappearing almost as fast as the knowledge of what they actually provide. But if anyone comes for this place, well, they'll have to go through the same people who've defended this land for 800 years. And thank goodness for that.
เราจะกินข้าวกันเนาะกินข้าวเดี๋ยวเราจะแบ่งข้าวให้เจ้าป่าเจ้าเขาอันนี้บอกเจ้าป่าเจ้าเขาเจ้าที่เจ้าทางเขาถ้าเรามาเดินป่าเราจะมาหาของป่าทำอะไรก็ได้เรามากับป่านี่นะเราก็ต้องเคารพเขาเคารพเขาถือตาเรามองไม่เห็นนี่ก็มันก็มีจริงแต่เรามีบารมีมองเขาไม่เห็นเวลาเราจะกินข้าวกินอะไรนี้เราก็บอกเขาเอาแบ่งให้เขากินแล้วก็เขาก็จะได้ช่วยดูแลเราไม่ให้เราไปหกล้มไปมีแมลงอะไรมากัดมาต่อยเราก็อยู่รอดปลอดภัยดีเดี๋ยวเราก็ไปบอกเขาเราก็ไปวางนี่แหละเจ้าปีเจ้าฐานเจ้าป่าเจ้าเขาเจ้าบุกข้าก็มาโลกแนวป่าแอวยังก็ติดพลังก็มาแอวจ้อยมากัน3 คนเดี๋ยวก็มาพักมาย่างนี่ครับ
Alright, there's a lot of parts missing from the next 2 hours. Right after we finished eating, the rain started falling, so we had to put the cameras away so they didn't get wet. Khammon led us along the river, climbing over stones and boulders, soaking through our clothes, cutting through thick patches of jungle with the scythe, walking through overgrown paths and pulling ourselves up by hand, and then suddenly, somehow, we noticed we'd been here before. There was the termite mound. The place we'd seen the other forager, landmark after landmark, invisible to us, but second nature to a man who's not just from the jungle. He is the jungle. And then, 7 hours after we set out, hot and drenched and holding a basket full of what would become our dinner, we were back to the road.
Jesus Christ. They told us, this is like last night when Dennis says, oh yeah, it's fine. Do you want to stay in a hotel with no air conditioning? Yeah, no air conditioning is fine. And it turns out there's no walls. And then today, I was gonna take a little walk in the jungle, get some food, come back and cook it. 10 kilometers later, 2 flesh wound leg injuries, a body temperature of about 600. But we made it. We survived the jungle. The jungle did not defeat us today. Ugh. Should have brought water. This was not sufficient for an entire day in the Thai jungle.
My feeling of accomplishment after making it back in one piece, exhausted and sweaty and thinking only of dinner and a cold beer, didn't last for long. A quick glance down after getting back in the tractor proved my words wildly premature. I did not, in fact, defeat the jungle. No, it got me.
So I hit my leg on a rock, saving the camera, and it turns out it's quite a bit worse than I thought. So we're stopping at a clinic to get it taped up, and the clinic they have their own cattle in back.
เดี๋ยวพ่อไปถามดูก่อน
This
เนาะ
should
ว่า
be
ทำ
pretty
ทำอะไรหรือ
straightforward.
เปล่า
I trust that this is something that the medical system can handle. Walk it off. It's just a flesh wound.
โลเฮ็ดได้ลุงห้อยไปเพื่อหางยินไป ขึ้นห้อยไปปั่นแลดหิน
I need a stick to bite down on, or a shot of whiskey, or both. Oh God, even the staff looks worried. After all that, I thought he was gonna start putting this like gauze on and wrapping it up. I can't see it because I'm laying down. He just took a little Band-Aid, just like a little children's Band-Aid. So this is good. It's not even gonna look like I earned a battle scar. Like it's gonna look like
ได้เนาะพอได้เนาะพอเลิศได้เนาะ แต่จริงๆก็ตีมวยดุนี่ฝรั่งเลิศย่อยเลิศยังจะเป็นย่อมก้านนี่
I'm a city guy. I'm staying in Bangkok now. Well, I feel like I need a drink. So this is, I'm very, very excited right now. This is the meal that got me on a plane from, as I'm making a mess, but I can't see anything. It's pitch black. Got me on a plane yesterday from Bangkok to Nan, in a van from Nan to Pua, into the jungle, to the local medical clinic, onto the back of a water buffalo, and all of it for this. Man, this is why we do this channel. This is what this is about. This is what, like, we travel to eat so that we have experiences like this. I'm gonna talk more, but I'm gonna try the food first. 2 dishes, both, you know, this isn't a fancy meal, but that's not what we came here. This is 2 dishes that are made with traditional methods, food we found in the jungle today. Nam prik that she made from fresh herbs and grilled mushrooms, the mushrooms that we foraged, and then a soup which has some more of the mushrooms as well as the plants that her husband picked up today.
It's hard to describe the 2 dishes on the table. They're not like anything else I've ever had, so the words aren't really there, but it tastes like exactly what it is. Herbs and leaves and mushrooms without that grocery store polish, no chemicals or preservatives, just the stuff from the jungle, seasoned with chilies and a paste made from local fermented river fish, made into a nam prik or a simple relish of fresh ingredients, alongside a light and flavorful soup. Both served with sticky rice grown right here on the farm.
This is just so different. It's like, I'm gonna try it without the sticky rice. It's grilled mushrooms, which you taste front and center. The mushrooms are a dominant flavor, but then you have chili, cilantro, onion, I believe, shallot maybe, I believe. There's just so much going on in this, and yet it tastes like, it's just so fresh. What an amazing experience, and 100% worthwhile for a meal like this.
Dad in the jungle yesterday, he gave a little offering to the jungle gods, jungle spirits.
Yeah.
You had your own encounter.
Yes, I did.
Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, so Dennis and 2 other of our friends decided we'd want to camp by a riverbed, and Dennis knew exactly where the way, so he led us there. And during the night, everyone had already set camp, everyone's already sleeping, my friend's already snoring just next to us. And then slept, woke up, and all of a sudden in that hole in your tent where you could see kind of like the moon, I could see the moon directly, and I know that how much light was coming in there. But then there was a window that was opened here too, at the back of our tent, where I saw a ball of light kind of walking on top of a cliff while we were at the riverbed. So I'm looking up at it, and I didn't really know what it was, and I was really afraid to understand what it was because the machete that Dennis brought was outside of our tent because I thought it was dirty. It shouldn't be in the tent. So that kind of scared me. Like, I have no protection. Like, I'm in this tent. This person is walking towards our campsite finding us. And then I looked at it closer, and it felt like it was floating. I saw that it was floating. It wasn't bobbing like a person was walking with a flashlight. It was just floating. And then I kind of got scared. I didn't really know what to do. I was gonna wake up Dennis, but there's no real threat yet. So I just kind of watched it, and for a while I watched it, and suddenly just turned back and into the jungle, and then I didn't see that ball of light again. I can't really explain what that ball of light is. I don't know if it's spirit or anything like that. So I just didn't tell anyone until we got to Bert's dad's house. And my friend who was snoring saw it too on the same night. And he was telling the story and I was like, wait, no, I know, like I saw that too. And then Bert's dad suddenly says, that's a spirit. You're not meant to follow it. It's good you didn't follow it, because if you had, you'd be lost in the jungle right now.
"36 hours ago, I was sitting in my house in Bangkok, working on another video and settled into a routine, and in another 2 hours, well, that's where I'll be again. Back to work doing another draft of a script, as always talking about history, distant cultures, and old traditions that led us to where we are. What I didn't expect was to actually get to live one of those stories. To experience a place, a life, and a meal that hasn't changed all that much since the first Dai warriors settled the jungles of Siam. Sila Leng Village, Phua District, Nan Province, a dot on the map of a country with modern infrastructure, tourist destinations and urban cities, surrounded by a world that in the 800 years since the founding of the Nan Kingdom has changed again and again and again. But not for everyone, as some things are meant to be preserved, protected at all costs. The land that gives life, the lessons that bond families, and the spirits deep in the mountains, keeping an eye on the land that belongs to them. It feels like an anachronism, something that doesn't make sense in an easy range of a highway in a modern airport. But 36 hours isn't nearly enough time to actually wrap my head around where I've just been. So I'll just leave by saying I'm so unbelievably glad to have made this trip, and I can't wait to come back.
All right, be honest. Just straight up. Did you knowingly keep some of the details about this from me before I came? With the actual like accommodations and things like that. You know, there's no air conditioning. Okay. You know.
Yeah.
There's no walls.
It wasn't like deliberate, but
you didn't want to scare me off.
No, I didn't want to scare you off, but I also wanted to like have it be a little bit of a surprise to you too. You know, not have you like kind of 100% expect that it's gonna be like this.
Yeah, but I could have packed better.
Yeah. Hey, but I did tell you like, hey man, bring some hiking boots.
I almost brought like a rolling suitcase, like a business traveler. Can you imagine? I just show up here with like a couple of pressed shirts, and you know, it was close. I mean, I wasn't that much better than that.
Yeah, you did pretty good, man. Like, you did pretty good with your.
How did I handle it? How did I handle it?
You did pretty good, man. I mean, like, you didn't have hiking boots, you didn't have anything. You just had your like old pair of sneakers, and you walked through what was it, like 5-6 kilometers of jungle. You know? Yeah, you did pretty good, man.
So now my next challenge is going to be to make this into a video.
Yeah.
You know, and your challenge too. What do you want to come out of this when we start putting this together in a video? Because I mean, again, like you and I, we didn't come here with like a shot sheet of what we're going to do. We came here and literally like up until we were filming things, we didn't really know what was going to happen. We didn't know what the weather was going to do. You know, we didn't know whether everybody was going to be available. We were kind of improvising.
Yeah.
And so now we have all this footage.
Yeah.
And what's your hope? How do you want this to be presented? Like, what would you like people to see from this?
I just want it presented as, you know, as honestly as possible. What this place is. You know, it's not Chiang Mai. It's not anywhere. It's super touristy. It's more raw, but I think that's the beauty of it. You know, and hopefully it'll open up more people's minds to, you know, coming to exploring places like this. You know, getting out of their comfort zone. You know, out of their 5-star hotel into, you know, a shack with no walls and no AC, right?
Well, I hope that's what we were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
subscribe to the channel for more from OTR. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us on Patreon. It makes things like this possible. Find links below to our Patreon and social media, and Daidib Daidee will link them too. See you next week.
Okay, this is so stupid. Tony, you gotta look up. We gotta take a thumbnail picture. Tony, can you lift your head? Oh, oh God. Tony, we just need one photo. Just look at the camera. Tony, just one photo. Oh my God, I'm getting close to the horns.
That should be good. Yeah.